The TTA motto is participation is our foundation.
As leaders of tomorrow.
Good morning. My name is Teen Benjamin Chapman, and I am the National TTA President.
And I am Lady Janice Skimmons, the National TTA Director.
And on this morning, the two of us will be presiding over the program. First, we're going to have a greeting by Teen Ashley Campbell, the National TTA Second Vice President.
Good morning. Greetings, ladies, lords, teens, and guests. I welcome you to the Syn-Lod 2019 TTA Recognition Breakfast. This morning, we will be recognizing teens for their accomplishments and the work they've done within Top Teens. I hope you all enjoy the program this morning. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Teen Ashley. Can everyone please stand for Lady Ozell Dean, a founder, as she comes up with a greeting.
Good morning, everyone. Are you awake? Of this wonderful day, I greet you for the former founders and myself. Wonderful teens. I'm so glad that I'm a teen. I love the teens. You have a wonderful day today, and I love you much. God bless you.
Isn't she a phenomenal woman? Next on the program, we will have the occasion by Lady Velda Hunter, the National Assistant TTA Director.
Good morning. I declare you will know the favor of the Lord and receive a harvest for your seed. And in due time, God will blow your mind with what he planted inside of you to bless the world as bloom. He that has begun a great work in you is faithful to perform it. You are doing a great work. Why are we here? We are here to celebrate Top Teens of America's great work. We are here to acknowledge the wonderful accomplishments that you have achieved throughout the 2 years of service, throughout this Syn-Lod, for your various competitions and everything that you have done. You have been a great service to your communities. And on today, we want to recognize those great efforts. I just want to let you know that God is doing a great work in you, and he is faithful to perform it. And because of what you do, you will constantly be rewarded and awarded for your tireless efforts and diligence, dedication, and loyalty to serving mankind. And we say thank you.
Now we're down to the part of the program that some of us have all been waiting for, the Ruth Payne Speakers Tournament. And I'm going to ask Lady Loretta Hoare to come up. She is the National Awards Chairperson.
Good morning. Ready to hear some more of those wonderful speeches from last night? Okay. And the winner is speaking on free speech rallies, the right thing to do, from the Inglewood chapter in Area 6, Team Bryn White.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. Hello, I am the First Amendment. I give you the right to freedom of speech, to freedom of press, to petition the government for redress of grievances, and to peacefully assemble. Peace meaning without war or violence. Peacefully assemble meaning interference from the government in a public meeting. Remember, I am the reason for August 11th and 12th of 2017. I flew my legal services to Virginia in sake of the Unite the Right rally, or the Charlottesville rally, or the Charlottesville riots, however your mind recalls it. Remember, we marched in masses, one by one, me and my fellow neo-Confederates, neo-Nazis, neo-fascists, KKK members, and white nationalists and various militia, carrying our semi-automatic rifles, wearing our swastikas, waving our Confederate flags, marching down to Emancipation Park in protection of our great leader, Robert E. Lee, and his statue. Unified, we stood in our supremacy movement, motivated by the conception that we are the sovereign elite. Hello, I am the enlightened. In result of the Unite the Right rally, a counter-protest sparked, escalating to one white nationalist driving its van into the crowd of counter-protesters, killing one, injuring 19. Fearful for our lives, dreadful for our actions, it brings us to the pinnacle question. Should we, as a society, participate in counter-protesting, or stay away as not to give value to the rally? Now, knowing there's no such thing as bad publicity, logistically we caution, but still we should say yes to counter-protesting. Why? Because it's the volume of a whisper that guides ignorance. Which leads me to my first point, the false consensus theory, or the false consensus effect. Now, being politically correct, the false consensus theory is a societal psychological concept for individuals to have the tendency to overestimate the level at which others like you and I share their beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. For example, Beyonce is the best entertainer of all time, past Michael Jackson. See, I believe I'm right. Why? Because you had the chance to contest my statement, but you didn't, leading me to believe that you think it's true as well. This is how their minds work, still believing that silence is consent, that what they stand for is right, and that others believe it too. So we need to counter-protest because no one else will. See, look, they're peacefully assembling, which means the government legally won't intervene. The Supreme Court already ruled the First Amendment to protect hate speech, so if we don't break the silence, then we concede. We concede to their white supremacy. We concede to the actions of the German Nazi Party. We concede to the fact they should dominate society. This ain't it. On to my second point. We've all seen the commercial. You're sitting at home, watching TV, and your life is passing you by. Get connected. Well, you're sitting at home, watching TV, and the KKK are marching by. Get active. Evil march those streets. And in the dark, they gather longing for their white America. The Nazis, the one who committed a genocide, the KKK, the ones who terrorized black people. We can't hide behind our phones and only use social media to spread the word. Micaiah Green of the Black Lives Matter movement once said that we've learned from experience. Ignoring white nationalism never works, which is why your morals, your emotions to guide you to the picket line. Because they say faith without work is dead. And we can't keep hoping for a better America if we ain't causing change. And if our morals don't make us pay, the world will make us pay. The world watching our broadcast, seeing us for who we really are. And we sure enough can't trust our president to stand up for what's right, so we have to. So grab your picket signs and remind them of the hard work our ancestors did to build this foundation. We can't let racism, hate, discrimination stop the hard work that we have done to take this step forward. So, welcome my brothers and sisters to the divine emancipation of my people. Hello, I am the First Amendment. Divide and conquer, they say. But America can't tell us nothing when we stand as one, combat as one, March as one against the one. Thank you.
It's better than the first time. If I may.
Yes, it did. June 25th, 2 days before my birthday.
All righty. On behalf of Top Ladies, I'd like to give you the certificate for first place and $500. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let us show this young man some love.
You were really good.
His father passed on June 25th, and he is here with us. So we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Morning. Mr. Tim King is an educator and nonprofit leader and the founder and CEO of Urban Prep Academies, a network of all-male charter schools, or high schools in Chicago. Mr. King has received national attention for the fact that since the school first graduating class in 2010, 100% of its graduates have been accepted into four-year colleges or universities. Mr. King was born in Chicago and attended St. Ignatius College Prep and completed his bachelor's and law degrees at Georgetown University. While at the Georgetown University Law Center, Mr. King became involved in and began working as a teacher at a nearby Catholic high school, and eventually decided to pursue teaching as a full-time career. Mr. King is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. In 2010, he was named one of People magazine's Heroes of the Year. He holds an honorary doctorate degree from the Adler School of Professional Psychology. Two years after departing Hales, Mr. King founded a network of all-male public high schools, Urban Prep, in order to address Chicago's woefully low rate of college preparation and graduation for Black males. Under his leadership, Urban Prep Academies received charters from Chicago Board of Education to open 3 high schools in neighborhoods throughout the city. For his work with Urban Prep Academies, he has been recognized as a national leader on education reform. In addition to his management of Urban Prep Academy, Mr. King has taught courses on subjects of urban education, philanthropy at Northwestern University, written for the Chicago Tribune, Chicago Sun-Times, Crain's, Chicago Business, and Huffington Post, and lectured to groups across the United States. Mr. King has been recognized by Black Entertainment Television, Ebony Magazine, Jet Magazine, Crain's Business, and the Griot for his leadership within the African American and Chicago communities. In addition to Urban Prep, he has also been named a Man of the Year by Men's Journal. and has been a finalist in GQ magazine's Better Men, Better World. Mr. King was invited to attend the 2014 BET Awards to receive the Shine a Light Award for his work with Urban Prep Academies. I present to you and introduce to you as well Mr. Tim King.
Thank you, Lady Catherine Miles, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you to all the top ladies of distinction, as well as the top teens for inviting me here today. I have to give a special thank you to Lady Jackie Wilcher, National Director of Operations. Also am just honored that I had the chance to enjoy breakfast sitting next to one of your founders, Lady Ozell Dean. I told her she needed to come up here and give the speech because the story is just amazing. And also, I would be remiss if I did not express my gratitude to the national president, Lady Dreama Lee Waldman, who, in trying to get me to come to this event, went straight to my boss to make sure I was here. My boss is my mama. And my mother has, let me tell you, since this invitation come to me, which was probably, 6 months ago, my mother has been asking me every week, you going to that thing, right? You going to that thing, right? You going to that thing? Yes, Mom, I'll be there. Trust me. I think we have a video that I'm going to show. I'm not positive if it got to us, but did it? All right. So why don't we start with showing that video?
We have reported on the rampant violence among school children in Chicago. 88 children under the age of 16 have been killed there in the past 2 years. But in the midst of this despair, an oasis, a place of learning, and yes, inspiration, thanks to a man named Tim King.
They are the latest young victims. 2 teenagers have been shot to death.
A series of shootings that began late last night across the city's south side.
Much of Chicago's south side is overshadowed by gangs, violence, and drugs. An environment where many young black men are losing their way. Some are even losing their lives. The statistics are numbing.
In Chicago, you're seeing the perfect storm of all the negatives, all the ills that are happening to young black men in America. You're seeing a 37% graduation rate.
And then 2 months ago, from the darkness, something emerged here. Something that has inspired me.
I'm going to Earlham College to be a community organizer.
I'm going to the University of Virginia to become a biomedical engineer.
I'm going to Denison University to become a doctor.
It was an unprecedented and surprise celebration at the Urban Prep Academy, a special assembly announcing the entire senior class, all 107 young men, had been accepted to a 4-year college. It was a mission accomplished by this man, education entrepreneur Tim King.
You have to have a culture in which students feel welcome, that they feel challenged, they feel like there are high expectations, and that there are ways to meet those expectations.
So how did he do it? He set a very high bar, heavy on math and science, an emphasis on foreign language study, plus 2 periods of English every day. Now that's a lot of work. Give us some more of the ingredients that has really made this be so successful.
I would say that the biggest ingredient really is creating a culture which is positive and supportive.
Mr. King is an inspiration to the students here.
I don't think I've ever met a person like him that works so hard, extremely hard, to get us on track. To me, he's just phenomenal.
Word on the street, 8:30 to 4:30?
8:30 to 4:30. That's it. That's the word.
That's a long day.
And after a while, you just get used to it. Like, it's just suck it up. You'll get used to it.
It's a whole extra year of school. Another ingredient, constant mentorship. More than an hour a day with a personal leader.
Do you feel you're being taught more than just writing, reading, and arithmetic?
Yeah, I think I'm being taught to be more of a responsible young man and to be more respectful to my elders and things like that.
When you say elders, why are you looking at me like that? I'm not that old. I'm not that old. I could be your grandma, but that's okay. That's another story.
Teron Loans is a freshman. His mother fought hard and pleaded to get her son in.
This is beyond what I can teach at home. And his vision means the world to us, Teron and I.
Walking the halls, it is not hard to be reminded of what struggles remain outside. Ahmad Wright's father is in jail. Ahmad says he has other plans.
They're letting us know that there is a life beyond high school, and it's college, and without college, it's a slim chance of success.
In fact, college is on their mind from the get-go. Some spend summers at universities like Georgetown and even Oxford. Talk about aiming high and getting a head start.
I'm going to Trinity College to be a news anchor.
Future news anchor Tyler Beck was eavesdropping on part of my interview and had a suggested question.
What can be done to help those other areas besides Chicago?
I hope that part of what we're doing here, in addition to educating the young men at Urban Prep, is also serving as an example to folks around the country for what can be done.
All right, Mr. Beck, get out of here. You don't take my job just yet. Can I keep my job just a little bit longer, Mr. Beck? What is it like when you know that these young men are saying their lives would be different without you and the others here at the school?
It's humbling to know that what we've done is going to change not just one life, but generations.
So what is your hope for yourself and for Chicago?
The hope for myself. I just plan to be somewhat successful in life and give back to the community that I lived in so kids can stay off the street and just do what they want to do.
You're all going to be little Mr. King.
So there's been a cloud over the whole race and whole issue with education and us stepping up to where we're supposed to be. Well, the sun is about to shine. I'm going to Purdue University to become a mechanical engineer.
I'm going to DePaul University.
I'm going to Western Michigan University. To Rice University to become a dentist.
To become a chief financial officer.
For now, I'll let Mr. Beck have the last word.
I have a quote that says, "Don't tell me the sky's the limit when there are clearly footprints on the moon."
I wanted to show that video, and thank you very much I know we got it to you very last minute, so thank you very much for showing it. I wanted to make sure that we showed that video so that you would have an opportunity. Many of the top teens are from Chicago, so you may be familiar with Urban Prep, but many of the people in the room are not, and so I thought it's important that you actually got a chance to see my guys, see our students, and see what we're doing and what we're all about. I had a student at one point who had to give a speech, and when he was about to give the speech, I went up to him and I said, "Here, let me see it," because I was going to read and make sure he wasn't going to say something crazy. And he looked at me crazy, and I said, "Where's your speech?" He says, "No, Mr. King, I'm going to do it a cappella." And we got some really intelligent top teens in the house, so you know that the word he was looking for was extemporaneously, as opposed to a cappella. I am a firm believer in writing things down, so I have written down some remarks for you, but I hope you don't mind if from time to time I do it a cappella. We have had a lot of protests in this country. Football players following the lead of Colin Kaepernick, kneeling during the national anthem, that's protest. Rosa Parks sitting down on a bus, that's protest. Jackie Robinson refusing to salute the flag is protest. Women joining Tarana Burke in proclaiming #MeToo is protest. But marching, rallying, kneeling, sitting in, or sitting down are not the only ways to protest. Almost 20,000 youth were shot in this country last year. The majority of those victims of gun violence were black teens who were shot on their way to or from school. So as far as I'm concerned, youth navigating the streets of our cities to get an education is also protest. Yeah, you can applaud that. Applaud yourselves, because you're doing it. We had a student once at Urban Prep who was all about protest. So Urban Prep, in case you didn't get it from the video, is an all-boys school. And we're the nation's first all-boys charter public high school. So needless to say, there are many students who don't want to come to Urban Prep because they don't want to go to an all-boys school, and they don't want to go to school for 8 hours a day, and they don't want to have to wear a jacket and tie and do all the things that we require. And this particular young man who, who, as far as I'm concerned, is like the king of protest, he was among those students who literally had to be dragged into our door by his mom. And she brought him in and enrolled him. And this young man named Mr. Branch, we refer to all of our students by the surname and honorific of Mr. because we feel it's a sign of respect, and if the people around you aren't indicating respect to you, it's very difficult for you to respect yourselves. It's not unlike how the ladies are called lady, the gentlemen, their spouses, are called lords, and the teens, your name is always prefaced by team. So we at Urban Prep, we refer to our young men by Mr. plus their last name. So Mr. Branch did not want to be at Urban Prep. And when he got there, he did every single thing he possibly could to not be there. He would cut class. He would not come to school. He would cause disruptions inside a school. So I would say, teens, you think about your high school life and think about the most ill-behaved student in high school. That's Mr. Branch, probably times 10. One day, his mom came into the main office and she said, "I'd like a transfer form." And we said, "What do you want a transfer form for?" And she said, "Well, I want to move him out of Urban Prep." "Well, why do you want to do that?" She said, "I just can't take it." She's a single mom. Mr. Branch's dad was involved with the criminal justice system. She was raising him on her own, and she just couldn't deal with the telephone calls to the school and all of the things that were happening. She said, "He doesn't want to be here, I get it, so I'm just going to transfer him to another school." So she transferred him, and he left Urban Prep. A few months later, we started noticing something really weird. We'd have a football game, and Mr. Branch would be in the stands on the Urban Prep side. We'd be, on the weekends, we'd have some kind of activity at the school, maybe service project, something. Mr. Branch would be there. One day we walked into a classroom during the school day, and Mr. Branch was in the class. "Mr. Branch, you don't go here anymore. What are you doing?" "Oh, well, my school gets out at 2:30, and Urban Prep doesn't get out till 4:30, so I just wanted to come and hang out, chill with my brothers at Urban Prep." "Mr. Branch, you made your decision, you made your choice. You didn't want to be here. You're not a part of Urban Prep anymore." So what we realized pretty soon was that what young Mr. Branch was trying to say to us was he never really left Urban Prep. And more important, he wanted to come back. He finally got up the courage, and I remember distinctly him coming to our office and asking, can I come back to Urban Prep? Why do you want to come back to Urban Prep? He said, because Urban Prep is my home. So we readmitted him and let him transfer back in because at the end of the day, we don't believe in throwing kids away, even those who think they should be discarded. Mr. Branch returned to Urban Prep, and fast forward a couple years later, and we had a group of very fancy educators from England visiting us. They weren't particularly fancy. I just call them fancy because they had English accents. You know, they just sounded fancy. So y'all know how when you got company coming, you get everything together. So we had, the school was spotless. We had the path that these folks were going to take from point A to point B, and then we had a nice reception ready for them in the conference room. We had some food set out for them. We had handpicked several students to talk to them and meet with them and interact with them. And when the group gets to, it's a group of maybe about 20 English, British educators, and when the group finally gets to the end of the tour and we're in this conference room, I'm talking to them, and they say, I've got a question. Can one of the students please talk to us about their experience at Urban Prep? And so, I look around and say, you teens in the room, you've been put on a spot like this before, right? In your classes, maybe right now, right before I got up here. Some adult, brings you and says, here, go talk, say it. So that was what was going on here. So I'm looking and scanning the classroom, and this one hand goes up. I'll tell you. And I look, it's Mr. Branch. Now see, we took Mr. Branch back, but we did not invite Mr. Branch to this conference. Nobody told him to come into that room. We trusted him, but only so far. I had nothing to be concerned about. Mr. Branch began to tell his story. And as he spoke, what he told that group of educators was, in his own words, that if he had stayed at that other school, he would have been dead by the time he was 18. He said, with tears in his eyes, in fact, I was dying a little bit every day there. Mr. Branch went on to graduate from Urban Prep. He went to Fisk University. He became the first member of Urban Prep's class of 2010 to ever graduate from college. He returned to Chicago to get a job in the community, and he now is the dean of students, telling people how to stay on the straight and narrow at Urban Prep Academies. That is protest. There's this line in a Drake song that I absolutely love. It is, I'm the type to say a prayer and then go get what I just prayed for. You see, we can't just sit around and hope for something to change. Mr. Branch wasn't sitting at that school hoping something would change. Mr. Branch went to make the change. We can't wait for the change. We can't just believe in change and think it's going to happen. We have to get up and make the change, create the change, live the change. We, each and every one of us, have to be the protest. When a group of black women wanted to work cooperatively, love that word, work cooperatively to alleviate the problems facing youth in their communities, they decided to create something of their very own. They didn't just pray that the problem would be solved, although they recognized that prayer mattered. They went out and solved the problem themselves. They didn't wait for someone to give them a piece of something. They went out and got a whole pie. When Mrs. Willie Lee Glass and Lady Dean and her colleagues founded the top ladies of distinction in 1964, it was protest. When Top Teens of America was founded 5 years later, it too was protest. And today, let us look around and see what that protest has wrought. To paraphrase Donald Glover's alter ego, Childish Gambino, this is America. Don't let nobody catch you slipping up. Put another way, you got to work hard. You can't be sleeping on the job. You can't just be praying. You got to get up and go get what you just prayed for. You got to be the protest in America. But what is America? America is the place where when you are a black teen, you can get arrested for sitting in a Starbucks, shopping at a mall, or eating at a Waffle House. America is the place where when you are a black male teenager, you are more likely to die from being murdered than any other reason. America is a place when you are a black female teenager, you are facing a future where you will make 64 cents for every dollar everybody else makes. This is America. But in this room, sitting before me are hundreds of black teens who know that with participation as your foundation, you will be the leaders of tomorrow. In this room are hundreds of black teens who have faced the many faces of discrimination, hardship, and violence, yet you are here today. In this room are hundreds of black teens who have stared down the haters, the naysayers, the critics, and the fake news artists. This, here in this room, is America. And it's not just America, it's also the manifestation, the invocation, the realization of another place. In this room is also Wakanda. Yeah, you can clap, you can applaud for that. Ryan Coogler had a vision when he wrote and directed Black Panther. He wasn't trying to make one of the highest domestic grossing movies of all time. He wasn't trying to release a film that would make over $1 billion. He wasn't trying to become a household name. He was just trying to tell a story of black folks saving the world, a story of the hero in each of us, a story of what is possible when, like the Urban Prep motto says, when we believe. And it is important that we tell these stories. When we don't tell the stories, we give license to the world to tell the stories for us. And they aren't interested in getting it right. They're interested in selling papers, achieving higher ratings, or getting more clicks on a site. They're not interested in us. You see, there's a belief, an expectation, a narrative of what it means to be a black teenager in America. It's a chorus to which the choir returns in the same sad songs. It's rehearsed renditions of the same old stories. It has become this rhythmic repetition, a pessimistic and non-poetic pentameter, the gloomy beat of a ticking clock counting down the hours to your demise. But starting in 1969, and with every year that has passed, Top Teens has shown this country thousands of young black men and women beaming with pride and swagged out with the confidence to match your intelligence. It is time to scrap their script. It is time to change the narrative. It is time, as Childish Gambino says, to show the world what you're whipping up. When Black Panther, beautifully portrayed by Chadwick Boseman, is fighting for his crown. His mother, played by the incomparable Angela Bassett, says, "Show him who you are." Top teens of America, the time has come for you to tell your story. For you, like T'Challa, to show them who you are. Your journey has been long, and it may have been tough, but let me tell you, it is far from over. You will have to work, fight, and struggle in some way every single moment of your life. Remember, this is America, and you are young black men and women. This country will try to defeat you. It will try to discourage you. It may even try to destroy you. And when that happens, think of T'Challa going to the ancestral plane and kneeling before his father, a father who looked at him not unlike I look at you today and said, "Stand up, you are a king." Stand up, Benjamin Chapman, on your way to Howard University, who we call Mr. President. Stand up, national officers leading this organization to greatness. Stand up, Brian White, who endured the loss of your father and you still won the Ruth Payne Speakers Tournament. Stand up, Naeem Muhammad, with your Cameron Scholarship that's going to pay for all your college and graduate school. Stand up, Lady Ozell Dean, 95 years old, young. Stand up, top teens of America. Stand up, top teens of America. Stand up, stand up. You are kings. You are queens. And this is your protest, and it is all America. Thank you very much. That's the way you guarantee a standing ovation. You just tell everybody to stand up at the end of your speech. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna claim it. Hey, Ma, I got a standing ovation. Thank you very much.
Now I can go back and tell his mama that he did a good job. Because I know she's waiting to hear. But wasn't that wonderful? That was great. And see, you didn't even have to ask for that. So let's give him another round of applause. The message that you delivered today was exactly what our teens needed to hear. And I am glad that it came through the person of you. So thank you so much for coming to visit us today. As he goes back to, how's the weather in Chicago? Rainy last time. As he goes back to rainy Chicago. Thank you.
A brighter day, so let's start
Can we give the TTA choir another hand?
At this time, we're going to recognize our national projects and initiatives. And I'm going to call the order on the program, if you all can just come up to the side. First of all, the March of Dimes, Lady Jacqueline F. Carter, who's the chairperson. She'll be followed by NCNW, Lady Darlene Hardeman, who's the chairperson. Keep America Beautiful, we'll do that one at a later date. Next, we'll have UNCF by Lady Eddie Lee Marsh, National Second Vice President. And St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and also Blessings in a Backpack by Lady Mavis Merritt, the Special Projects Coordinator.
Good morning. I would like to also recognize this morning our National Teen Chair, Teen Alexis Clark. Give her a hand. She's been working very hard. This morning, I have the pleasure of introducing two young ladies that are here in the Atlanta area with March of Dimes, Miss Erica Perry. She's the Director of Community Mobilization and Partnerships. She's been with March of Dimes for over 5.5 years. We also have Miss Danielle Brown. She's the Director of Maternal and Child Health Care here in Georgia. And some of you may recognize her. She is a charter member of the Lincoln Park chapter, Top Teens of America. So these ladies are here to present our awards. We would like for Lady Dreama and Lady Sharon to join us here on stage as they present the awards to our outstanding chapters.
Good morning, everyone. On the behalf of March of Dimes, I want to thank you so much for your fundraising efforts this year and our continued partnership. Because of partnerships like yours, we are able to do our mission work. And as you know, the mission work for the March of Dimes is to fight for the health of all moms and all babies. In this country, moms face poor birth outcomes, but that really touches home because Black women in this country have the highest rate of premature birth rates, of maternal mortality, and we know there's room for improvement. But we would be unable to do the work that we do without your help. And so that includes fighting for policies that are positive for moms and babies, implementing programs, giving grants, and that's really done not only on the national level, but on the community level. So in our states, in our counties, and in our cities. And so we really want to thank you for the work that you do. And then, as Lady Jacqueline mentioned, this is personal for me because 16 years ago, I joined Top Teens as a charter member for Lincoln Park Chicago chapter. And that was actually my first exposure to March of Dimes. And so I want to encourage the teens to take what you learn in your respective chapters as you matriculate through high school and into college, and to remain engaged in your communities. We need your support, we need your minds, and we really want to thank you for all the work that you do to make our mission possible. So thank you.
So at this time, we would like to recognize the top 3 chapters. But before doing so, I want to congratulate your organization because over the last 4 years under this administration, you all have raised over $100,000 for March of Dimes. And the unofficial total for this year is a little more than $38,000, which is a $10,000 increase from last year. So again, thank you all so much for your continued support. So we will start with third place, $2,683 from Area 2, Southern Maryland. Is there a representative from Southern Maryland that will come up? Oh. And then in second place, raising $3,000 from Area 3, Will County Black Diamonds. And last but certainly not least, in first place, raising $4,458 from Area 1, River City.
Thank you again to all of the chapters that participated. And those of you that did participate, I will be outside of your plenary session and I will have your certificates for you. And Lady Dreama, these two young ladies that we have here, hopefully we can recruit them into top ladies of distinction.
Thank you, Lady Jackie Carter. And I also want to add, I was just informed that we do have a representative from Keep America Beautiful, so come on up also and join us. We're so happy to have you. NCNW.
Good morning. I have a surprise for you, and that is to let you teens know that you are the largest youth group that has the membership with National Council of Negro Women. We have with us today the executive team for National Council of Negro Women. Mr. David Glenn is the executive director of membership. Would you stand, Mr. Glenn? National director. And we have with us Janice Mathis, Esquire, who is the National Executive Director of National Council of Negro Women. Ms. Matthews' work has been with a group called, she's worked with Dr. Jesse Jackson. She has done extensive work with him with Operation Push. And with that, I'd like to invite her to the stage so that she can continue to tell you about the legacy and operations of National Council of Negro Women. Janice Mathis.
Good morning. I won't take but just a few minutes. We're very pleased and proud to represent National Council of Negro Women. Next year will be our 85th anniversary, which means, thank you for that. It's one thing to stay around for a long time, but it's something different to do good work over 85 years. Mayor McLeod Bethune started National Council of Negro Women in 1935. There were many reasons that she wanted to form an organization of organizations of Black women. But one of the critical reasons, which may be of interest to you here today, especially you young folk, was there was something called lynching that was prevalent in the early part of the last century. Some 4,000 African Americans were executed without the benefit of a trial or due process or even the opportunity to protest. They didn't get to go to an academy like the ones like Urban Prep. And so women banded together and formed an organization to fight lynching. Now, you don't hear much about lynching anymore. Thank goodness, right? But that's because the organization was successful in eradicating that particular blight on our society. But that doesn't mean that the struggle ends, because today, your generation will be challenged to fight new fights. Yesterday, Facebook issued a report, a very lengthy, very expensive report on what they plan to do to keep from interfering with the 2020 elections the way they were implicated in doing in 2016. It will be the task of your generation to figure out where should the line be between privacy and free flow of information. What will I do if my account is hacked? How much do I rely on social media and how much do I use traditional media? The questions never stop coming. And I'm so gratified to be here today on behalf of NCNW because I am reassured that you are up for the challenge. Now let me give you the 90-second elevator speech about NCNW. We have 290 sections, Mr. Glenn. They are in 32 states. There are 26,000 members of NCNW. And if you count the 32 affiliates, of which I am so pleased and proud to say that Top Ladies is one of the 32 national affiliates, we represent 2.5 million Black women. And that's all well and good. That's an impressive number, but the devil or the angel, dreamer, is really in the details. And we have found a wonderful partner in Top Ladies of Distinction. We are so proud of you young people, and we are delighted to recognize your achievements here this week. So if you choose to, when you get to college, ladies and gentlemen, in most college campuses, 78 college campuses, you will find NCNW waiting there for you to give you a meaningful experience, and we hope you will take advantage of the tutoring, the mentoring. This fall, we will do something that's a little bit different for us. We're going to take 3,000, you and your peers, to 7 HBCU campuses to spend a day of discovery. What will you discover? What should you major in? Is it science, technology, engineering, art, or math? Where should you go? Harvard, Yale, or maybe a school called Texas Southern? Anybody here from Houston? Or maybe you want to go be a South Carolina State Bulldog down in Orangeburg. Or maybe you'll go to one of the oldest institutions for African Americans in the country, Wilberforce, which has its history grounded in Ohio in the freedom movement on Underground Railroad. The choices are many. Join us September 6th through November the 6th for an unprecedented tour of some of the nation's most prestigious institutions. NCNW will meet you there. And I can't stop without thanking Dreamer Lee Woolman. Please give her a round of applause. She has been more than a colleague. She's been like a sister beloved to NCNW. And we, on behalf of NCNW and Janetta Betch Cole, who is our president, we thank her and all of you for the partnership that means so much to us.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to honor the top 10 chapters of Top Teens of America, or Top Ladies, their top teens, who make up, again, as they said, more than half of NCNW's membership. Coming in 10th place was Lake Charles, Louisiana. Anybody here from Lake Charles? I don't know the area. Okay. Next was Cardinal Chapter, Missouri. El Paso Chapter, Texas. South Suburban, Chicago, Illinois. There was a tie between Durham and Raleigh, North Carolina. So Durham chapter, Raleigh chapter, North Carolina. Beaumont chapter, Texas. Prince George's County chapter, Maryland. Compton chapter, California. Shreveport chapter, Louisiana. And in first place was Houston chapter, Texas.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kanika Greenlee. I serve as the Executive Director of Keep Atlanta Beautiful Commission. So welcome to Atlanta. Thank you so much for having your national conference here. I was recently elected as the National Vice Chair of Keep America Beautiful. Keep America Beautiful, thank you. Keep America Beautiful is a national nonprofit that has been working for the last 65 years in the areas of litter prevention, waste reduction and recycling, and beautification. One of the relationships with top ladies of distinction that we value the most is the connection to your top teens through our National Youth Advisory Council. The Youth Advisory Council creates a framework for youth engagement, providing a unique opportunity for 20 high school students in 11th and 12th grade to participate in service learning and leadership development programs. Keep America Beautiful believes awareness, knowledge, and action based on educated choices are the key to our litter and waste challenges. It is not too late to apply for the class of 2019-2020 for the Keep America Beautiful Youth Advisory Council. The application deadline is July 8th, so you have just a few more days. So please visit kab.org/Youth Advisory Council for more information. Again, that's kab.org/Youth Advisory Council for more information. I'd like to recognize a few of the top teens that have participated in our Youth Advisory Council in the past. So if you're in the room, please stand so I can acknowledge you. Cyan Williams of Chicago was the first top teen to participate on the Youth Advisory Council in 2016-2017. Bethany Griffin, who was a sophomore at Timothy Christian High School in Elmhurst, Illinois, and an active top teen in her community. Bethany, are you here? And last but not least, I'd like to acknowledge another top teen, Janice Foster from Chicago, Juanice Foster from Chicago. Juanice is a member of the Evergreen Park Chicago chapter of Top Teens. And was the winner of Keep America Beautiful's 2017 How Will You End Littering youth video contest, which she challenged high school students to work on ending litter. If you haven't seen the video, I'll be sure to share it with you. It's a great video. We are looking to use it now nationally across the country because it's such an impactful video for Keep America Beautiful and the work that we do. We work closely with your beautification committee. So if you haven't partnered with your local Keep America Beautiful affiliate, you can find more information about your local affiliate. We have over 600 affiliates nationwide. Please reach out to them and work on your beautification projects. Thank you so much. And I also have an award that I just want to present to someone from the top teen organization from Keep America Beautiful.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Lady Mavis Merritt. I am the National Top Teens of America Special Projects Coordinator. And we're going to start this morning with St. Jude. First, I want to tell you, top teens, you may not be aware of this, but yesterday, the ladies voted to accept St. Jude as a national permanent partner.
We were sitting at home on the couch. I remember, the sun was shining through the living room. We were just sitting there holding our son. I felt blessed. I was relieved. Everything went smoothly as possible. No real hiccups during the pregnancy. And we'd been praying for a son, so things were really just falling into place.
We just had came home with Bryce. My wife and I, we was there enjoying him. And we was sitting there near the window.
And we saw a lady in scrubs, white scrubs, coming to our door. She said, "I'm looking for the parents of Bryce." She asked us to sit down, and she let us know our son was diagnosed with sickle cell disease. I started preparing for the worst. I remember being afraid to, get close to my son. And it's just like our world stopped because I felt so hopeless in that moment. That day I'll never forget. The very next day, I got a call from St. Jude.
He needs Pneumovax and Menveo. I don't know that I've ordered them yet, but I just want to be on your radar. They have a couple more people to see. What we do with the patient is give an overview of sickle cell disease. It is a chronic condition that affects hemoglobin. This abnormal hemoglobin transforms the shape of the cells from a healthy round disc or donut shape to a sickle or crescent moon shape. We want to make sure that parents know that this is something that their children will not grow out of. This is a very serious condition that truly does affect every part of the body and everything about their life. Sickle cells don't flow through the blood vessels as easily as healthy red blood cells. The most common and well-known complication of sickle cell is pain. The pain ultimately is due to tissue damage because tissues aren't able to get the oxygen when those sickle cells clump in the circulation. Many patients will describe it as the worst pain that they've felt. Generally, the pain can be devastating, especially if it's very frequent or severe.
Bryce, please come to assessment triage.
Every 2 weeks, we would come to St. Jude.
Sometimes he would start crying a lot, start getting fever. When he get a cold or anything like that, he couldn't fight it off.
So we were afraid to travel, afraid to go visit grandmother, family, and friends because we were so afraid of being out of town at the wrong time. But St. Jude did a great job of educating us on what the journey would look like and to be able to just get my son here and not think about how we will pay for it. It just takes so much weight off of my family. St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce and to understand that he will receive quality care.
There is hope for the future, and there is hope in the management of sickle cell disease. Currently, we are investigating alternative treatment options, including gene therapy, and the hope is that in the future, we may even be able to essentially remove the sickle gene and replace it with healthy DNA that would be a cure. It is a process, so until that happens, we are really just doing our best to help manage any complications that may occur. And hydroxyurea has been shown to help reduce the frequency or severity of pain crises.
When we began hydroxyurea, I began to see my son's personality. He laughed and he played and he was just everything a little boy should and could be.
It looks like he's been doing well. We did get his labs back today, so just...
Well, today in our clinical visit, we received some news. Bryce's numbers were exceptionally well. We started out coming every 2 weeks, and now we can actually go about every 6 months.
All right, there we go.
From the beginning, I thought it was a death sentence. And now, through St. Jude, I understand the seriousness of it, but I'm not in such a fearful place. You can live and you can have more good days than bad days with sickle cell disease. I really believe in Bryce's lifetime, we'll see a cure.
There's always hope, because this is a research hospital and they're always trying to find a cure.
And I'm just so glad they are committed to finding cures and just taking care of our patients. We've been so blessed, so fortunate. It's just nice looking at my son and seeing him grow and develop. He understands his condition. So if you ask Bryce, Bryce will say, I have sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease does not have me.
I'm going to introduce to you Zach Zeller. He is actually a volunteer in the Atlanta office, but he has a story. Some of you all asked me in my workshop about patients at St. Jude. Zach is actually a patient from St. Jude.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you having me, and I really appreciate your support of St. Jude. This has been a wonderful morning for me to see all these bright young faces out here and all these bright minds. I'm pretty sure I'm looking out here and seeing some future doctors in the crowd. So, keep it up. So, my story started with St. Jude when I was 6 years old, and I had been diagnosed with cancer when I was 3. And I'd been to 2 other hospitals and before I got to St. Jude, and I remember going to St. Jude the very first day when I was 6 with my mom, and the very first thing that they told her when we got up to the receptionist is they looked at my mom and said, "You will never receive a bill from St. Jude." And we had already had a mountain of bills from the other hospitals we had been at, that I had received treatment at, and that was a huge blessing for my family and for me to hear that. And so my message to y'all is, y'all are the ones doing that for other little kids. There are teenagers at St. Jude right now, y'all same age, that are struggling, and what you are doing to help them is truly remarkable. So thank you so much for your support of St. Jude. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for supporters like Top Teens. So because of supporters like you, our families at St. Jude never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food. And our mission is that no child is denied treatment based on race, religion, or a family's ability or inability to pay. And we freely share our discoveries that we make, which means doctors and scientists worldwide can use that knowledge to save thousands more children. So thank you all, and I encourage you to keep raising money for St. Jude.
Those are kind of heavy. I first want to make sure that everyone understands what you all have done over the past 4 years. Top Teens of America, you have raised $138,112 for St. Jude. We are now going to recognize the top 3 chapters for this year, as well as the top individual. I don't think the top individual is here. Lady Donna, you'll have to come forward. But the top individual fundraiser was Teen Christian Laws. I got it up here. With $1,330. The top chapters for this year, 3rd place, Southern Maryland, $1,698. Stay. 2nd place, Jackson, Tennessee, $3,130. And 1st place, Skyline, $4,005. As the National Top Teens of America Special Projects Coordinator, I'm also for Blessings in a Backpack. The first thing I want to do is, teens, if you help backpack the 1,000 backpacks, stand up quickly. Give them a round of applause. You may be seated. The teens who beat me to the packing room this morning, please stand up. I ran into them on the elevator last night and said, can you help me at 7 o'clock? And they said, yes, Lady Mavis. And they beat me there. So I was very impressed with that. So as you know, we do have the Blessing in the Backpack initiative. And we actually have 5 recipients. They are listed in the book in your program. We have 2 of them that are here with us this morning. We have, Nakia Boyd and Taya Clemmings. They are from the Mary Hall Freedom House. Please stand. And you can read their information in the program. And then we also have Cartisha. Okay, Cartisha Bentley, like the car. She is the assistant principal at the C.H. Gullatt Elementary School, and they'll be receiving backpacks today. As you can see, the others are listed in the book. We will be giving over 1,000 backpacks today, and y'all gonna take them with you when you leave. And thank you very much.
Evidently, you all are asleep. She said we would be giving out 1,000 backpacks today. That's better. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ladies. So that completes the part of the program for our national projects and national initiatives. And I'd like to thank every chairperson for all of your hard work that you did on that. Okay. Now we're down to the Vivian Cole Richard TTA Leadership Academy. And we're going to have the Dean, Lady Carmen Kersey, come up and talk to us. And this is something that I can attest to because I was with them.
Lady Pope and Lady Lawton, would you please join us? To our thriving founder, Lady Ozell Dean, top ladies of distinction, National President, Lady Dreama Lee Woolman, and top teens of America, National President, Team Benjamin Chapman. I'd like to present, ladies and teens, I'd like to present to you the 2018 graduates of the Vivian Cole Richard Top Teens of America National Leadership Academy. They're walking in the room, y'all. The Academy was hosted in Houston, Texas, July 14th through the 21st, with the theme Navigating the Power of Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics. We had 2 intense days of workshops in etiquette, protocol, servant leadership, parliamentary procedure, and career-wise. Teens even got the opportunity to build robots while they were there. We also traveled to Texas Southern University, Prairie View A&M, Dillard University, Xavier University, Tuskegee University, Tennessee State University, and Fisk. At the conclusion of our program, our commencement speaker was the interim chief technology officer at NASA's Johnson Space Center. As always, chapters advisors, we encourage you to mentor your teens and apply. The applications for the 2020 Vivian Cole Richard Leadership Academy will be available in October. And to our Academy graduates, as I always say, take advantages of the opportunity presented to you, set excellence as a standard. Thank you for allowing me to grow with you and always be prepared. Let's give them another round of applause.
Thank you, everyone.
Ladies, teens, and lords, thank you for indulging us this morning. Let's give everybody a round of applause. Our teens will have to leave because they are going on an off-site tour today. So we hope that they enjoyed the tour, and the plenary session will start at 11:45.